I thought we'd start off with talking about phase 2 of the protocol. And I know I just got another email with a question on side effects, so we'll go over that again. And then I have a little lecture prepared for you on hormones in the gut. Okay. So here again is your homepage. So it's bridgetdanner.com/gut reset. There's no password or anything. You just go there and you'll have your previous recordings and all your main documents. And then there's a lot of bonus content. I think we went over it somewhat last time. But just as a reminder, a lot of the value of this course is like the educational content. And I know your time is limited, but as you're doing dishes or folding laundry or like on the train, try to listen to some audio or read some guides here. I think somebody just commented. Let's see. Anna can only do little doses in phase 1. That's okay, Anna. This is actually similar to a question we had. Someone saying that they're feeling bloated on the phase 1. They're feeling bloated. They feel like it's a probiotic. They have a history of SIBO and parasites and different things. So as we talked about last week, there really aren't a million different side effects. There's really just about 3. So let's just click on that guide really fast. And the number of choices of things to do about it are pretty short as well. So bloating, inflammation, constipation. Those are pretty much it, usually. Now that I say that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty easy. I should kind of advertise that. So those are pretty much it. And bloating we talked about can be from die-off, which I think this client was experiencing. I don't know if that person's here today. Inflammation we talked about last week can be like, my joints are more sore, I'm getting headaches. That's the kind of the toxins are moving through and the body isn't handling them as well as it could be. So we're just getting too much reaction. And constipation, it can be just kind of like from things kind of bulking up in the digestive tract. So this document has lots of different suggestions for it. And we go item by item. Does it tend to cause inflammation, constipation, or bloating? Oh, okay. I guess also loose stools is another one that could be happening. Not really from anything in this program, though, I wouldn't say. But here's a couple other things we sell that could cause some loose stool. So solutions are basically to lower dose, like Anna is doing, to add a binder, or to kind of switch courses a bit. So if you really struggle with bloating, you may need to treat SIBO more with like the Atrantil supplement, or add the charcoal as a binder. Yeah, or just slow down. The kind of the main thing about this document is that when you add something to the pot, things are going to change. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a matter of balancing it. So as an example, I went to the chiropractor on Saturday. I didn't really need it, but I was taking my son, so I just got an adjustment. But, it was a quick adjustment. It was no massage or anything. So then the next day, like, I was more tight on the other side of my back because, something had changed on the right side and now the left side needed to be addressed. And it's kind of, similar with the gut. If you're going to be adding something to increase diversity, starve unfriendly bacteria, that starvation can cause some die-off, some gaseous die-off. So it's not necessarily bad, it's just sort of a byproduct. And low dosing is like the easiest thing, or if you're like, whoa, I think I'm really going in the wrong direction. And we talked about treating for bloating, and we talked about the low FODMAP diet in here as well. My chat. Yeah, you'll always have access, Kimberly. Until I go out of business. Hopefully that won't happen for many, many years. So unless something changes with the link, which I don't anticipate, you'll always have access. And if we repeat the course and add more stuff, you're welcome to get access to that as well. Okay, so let's go back to the protocol. So maybe some people are still on month one, kind of, and it may be that you're on month one for 2 or 3 months because that's all the dosing you can handle. And right here is we have the cheat sheet. What if you're bloated? What if you still don't feel like you're digesting well? What if you're constipated? Month 2, we're still doing the Megaspore, same dosing. And then we're adding in the Mega Mucosa, 1 scoop in water. How did I say was mid-morning? Why did I say that? I don't know why I said that. Oh, maybe I just meant in mid-morning. It's liquid, right? So we kind of want it away from food. The Mega Mucosa is not the best tasting, but it is pretty much no side effects. I haven't seen any side effects from it. So that's the good thing. It does not taste good because it has a lot of these animal immunoglobulins. So they cover up that nasty taste with some natural flavoring, which is pretty strong. So that one I think will be fine. The one that could cause a little trouble is this pre-fiber, especially if you're having a lot of bloating. So the pre-fiber is not supposed to feed the wrong bacteria or irritate SIBO, but it is fiber. And most of us aren't getting enough fiber, don't have enough diversity of bacteria. So as we feed the fiber to our bacteria, there can be some gas producers that are sort of activated, increased in population you're not used to. So the main way to deal with that is drink the fiber over the course of the day. Like just put it in a tall cup and then put it in the fridge, or you could probably leave it on your counter and just like have a little every now and then. That way the fiber is coming slowly. You can also definitely just do a half scoop or a quarter scoop. So it's totally fine. If you have that prebiotic for 4 months, it's okay. You're still feeding the bacteria. I'm getting to find all my typos. Oh, so Jennifer is suggesting to put some of the pre-fiber, which tastes really good, into the mucosa. That's a great idea. Makes it more tolerable. Okay, that's a great idea. Yeah, the pre-fiber tastes great. It's like peach. It's fine. It's the Mega Mucosa that's pretty nasty. At first, honestly, when I first tasted it, I was like, oh, no way am I going to sell this. But you do get used to it. It's just like a taste you haven't experienced before, and then you totally get used to it. I can have it like no problem now, and I give it to my son when he's constipated. It's very soothing for that digestive tract. So it can be good for leaky gut. If you feel like, fiber scratches you, a lot of foods irritate you, it's just going to smooth all that over, kind of move the bowels better. So many people have a compromised gut mucosa. So I love this product. I love the Mega Mucosa. So, this whole plan is fairly gentle, right? We're not doing anything specific for killing or whatever, but this phase 2, we're still adding some good bacteria with the Megaspore, and then we're giving the fiber, which apparently like 10x's the Mega Mucosa. It gives these new bacteria coming in something to eat off of. So it's supposed to be really good. So generally it's increasing, population, getting some new new players in there. And then the mucosa, again, is soothing. A lot of people have that layer damage. A lot of people do have kind of leaky gut and compromised immunity. So it's just a very nice, simple mix. Yeah, again, the only thing I really think will be a problem is the pre-fiber being a little bloating. And, if anyone's experiencing already some limitations with the Megaspore, then you're just going to have to continue to go slowly. you know, no harm in occasionally taking a couple days off if you feel like it's been too much, and then picking it up again. So peppermint oil on the belly or charcoal could help with bloating as well. Okay. Any other questions? I think I might go to the questions that came in ahead of time. But if you're here live, I'd be happy to take your question or have you come on. And we have 2 Kimberlys. Jennifer is saying she just watched the Kieran Christian video. One of the things you mentioned was due to the megamucosa after you've been on the prebiotic 3 to 4 weeks. Yep. Okay. So you could. I mean, I figured it would slow everything down, and he does sometimes change up his protocols, much to the chagrin of his staff. His theory is, oh, we can't build up the mucosa till like all the bacteria is populated. I don't know if I'm just not as strict on that. I sometimes give the megamucosa in month 1, which you probably saw, Jennifer, because it's so soothing. So, you know, if you prefer to try it that way and do the fiber for a month and then move into megamucosa, it's totally fine. I just don't think it's like a big deal. So I just thought, well, let's just keep it short and sweet, get it all done the same month. Cool. Yeah, they have some new products coming out too. They have a animal probiotic and the Mega Omega that he mentioned in that video. So I'll let you guys know when those are out. Which products can they do long-term versus daily? And then we think. Okay, so Mega Spore, Mega IgG, I don't think there's any harm in being on it long-term. But it's also usually not necessary. Now, if you've had a really, you know, if you're really recovering from something, you have multiple infections, you're working with another practitioner, you may want to be on it like 6 months. But generally, you don't have to stay on it forever. You know, Kieran in his own life is pretty sporadic. Like if he eats out, he'll have a whole bunch of Mega IgG. You know, you can, once your body's like more adapted, you can take 4 Megaspore Biotic at once. You can like really kind of do what you want once your body's there. So like personally, I don't take any of these products every day, but like yesterday I had a little stomach pain, I think from this homeopathic remedy I started. So I took the Mega IgG, and I could have done the mucosa also. So I just like, you know, or if I have the flu, sometimes then I'll add the Mega IgG because it's good for cleaning up like viruses. So I'll just take it as needed when I feel like something's come up for me. But if you have seen, say, a condition of like long-term, especially like, what do they call it, IBSD, like diarrhea, Mega IgG is so nice for diarrhea. So if you know you have infections, you got diarrhea, that would be good. And yeah, some people may want to be on for a while until you feel like I'm stable, I have good bowel movements, I can tolerate more foods. As far as my like things I think for every day, it's more like nutrients, fish oil, magnesium, multivitamin. I like the MitoQ as a daily energy support. You can certainly do different antioxidants every day. Again, there's like no harm if you wanted to take Megaspore every day. It gets expensive. What else might be an everyday thing? I think those are kind of my staples. When I'm in cold season, I might do more like antioxidants, vitamin D, that kind of a thing. And then other things I'll just take depending on what I'm working on. Anything that would disrupt any of these. The only thing you should probably not mix is charcoal or like a chemical or a, you know, kind of a binder like that. Like take a binder away from supplements. But other than that, no, I don't think there's anything that would throw any of those things off. Good question. 1 second, my dog refused to come in, but now he wants to come in. Sit down. Okay, cool, good questions. See a couple people coming in late, so if you have a question, you're welcome to ask on the chat. Try to remember to choose all panelists and attendees so everyone can see your question. So I prepared a little talk today about gut and hormones, and it was pretty exciting what I was coming up with. And this isn't a real formal blog, but I can share it with you guys in the state it's in. So I just focused on a few hormones, although I was just thinking before I got on it, gosh, I'd really be interested to look into insulin and the gut. So maybe I'll do that for the next call, which is next week. So the reason I sort of put some of the calls together is this should be around when a lot of people are starting month 2. So if they have questions, they could like come back next week. Oh, I forgot I was going to do other questions. Well, let me do this little lecture and then I'll do other questions. So you may have heard of the estrobolome. It is a collection of bacteria in the gut that metabolizes estrogen. And when it's healthy, when it's got the right kind of population, it does a good job of managing estrogen levels. But when it's the wrong collection of bacteria, or maybe it's low, you can have a situation where you have more of an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase. Curious if anybody on here has ever been tested for beta-glucuronidase. We do include that in our GI map test. It's one of the markers. I really like seeing it because it's really interesting. So basically the estrobolome is not so good. The beta-glucuronidase will come up. And when that enzyme comes up, it breaks the bond of estrogens that were bound to be excreted, and it puts them back into circulation. And then you can have too much estrogen in circulation. Now, it doesn't only release estrogens. It releases other toxins too that were bound to be excreted. But this is an article on hormones, so I kind of focused on estrogen here. So when I see high beta-glucuronidase, there's some things you could do directly to attack it or address it. One would be to do calcium D-glucarate, which kind of helps keep that bond together. But usually I don't bother to do that. I just work on the dysbiosis. So if we're running a GI map, we can see the infections, and there's usually some bacterial infections, maybe H. pylori, etc. We just work on those, and I kind of assume that things will even out. It's obviously better to retest. That's kind of the gold standard to see if things have changed. So some things specifically could happen was it could increase your chances of endometriosis. Maybe not chances, but manifestation. It can increase the androgens that present in PCOS. It can contribute to cancers because it's letting estrogens and other toxins back into the system. A couple things that can affect the gut are antibiotics and hormonal contraceptives. This was interesting. Phytoestrogenic food like pomegranate, flax, a lot of how it affects you is based on how healthy your estrobolome is. So, if you've got a healthy gut, probably having these healthy fibrous foods is going to be beneficial. Not so healthy gut, apparently it could work negatively. They mentioned that lactobacillus could help the estrobolome. I got most of this information from Chris Kresser's article here. So I can put this in the notes as well so you have it. Another hormone very much involved with the gut, you probably know, is the thyroid. So just dysbiosis in general is heightened on people who have Hashimoto's. There is a parasitic infection called Blastocystis hominis that's associated with the Hashimoto's diagnosis. They can also break down that secretory IgA layer that we were just talking about with the megamucosa and help contribute to leaky gut. So where is it? I thought I had a quote here about, it's funny. I thought I had a quote about how many people had blastocystis who had irritable bowel syndrome, and it's like really high. So not everyone tests, but when they do test, like everybody has this blastocystis hominis infection. I can read more about it with Isabella Wentz's article here. She probably has that piece I lost. Also, dysbiosis could cause increased TSH and more production of thyroid hormone, which I don't see as much, but worth mentioning. And this article had a lot of good citations. SIBO is associated with hypothyroidism, and sometimes you have to work on the SIBO to bring down the, or to, how can I say, to remedy the hypothyroidism, you have to work on the SIBO. And apparently this thyroid medication can contribute to the development of SIBO, so that's not so good. So I have a few quotes here, and further reading you can do. H. pylori is also associated with both Graves' disease and Hashimoto's, so that's an infection that can be worked on. This would be our Mega Guard product. This is how I dose it. Let's see. And then I probably do and then while you did this, you probably want to do some mega IgG, right, to help clean up the waste. So I'm going to say 2 to 4 because I find the mega IgG is so powerful. I don't even know if you always need 4. Let me check your notes here. Hi, Lois. Yeah, we talked about this before you came on. So I said there's, with these supplements, just a few things that could happen. Constipation, inflammation, or bloating. And it sounds like you were getting inflammation for the most part. Maybe, I don't know if you were getting some cramping or bloating as well. If you had rosacea, so it's like an inflammatory condition. And we talked about like whenever you add a new element, changes are starting to happen, and you're probably having more die-off than you can handle because they're pretty gentle products. But everybody's different. So yeah, and the sleep, probably just because you were trying to detox over the night, so your sleep was disrupted. I think it's good you just stopped. And I don't know, it sounds like you're working with a naturopath. If you want to work on some other things, it could be that if you're also like doing castor oil pack, which we have a link on, that could help, or you're doing the sauna, or you're doing some binders, like doing something that so you can handle this stuff better. But you could be a person who you can only take a half pill a day of each of them. And that's okay if you can do it there. It's still having some effect. If you can't even do that, I think it's saying a lot about your gut and like just where you are right now. Because I think right now your body's so like maxed out that as soon as you add like one element, it goes crazy. I don't know when you came on, but like now I'm saying like I can just take a handful of these things. It doesn't doesn't matter at all, because my body's just pretty adjusted to it all. But I think I'm learning from this course, and maybe some customers who write in, like, even though they've been working on their health, probably I'm guessing that you've had a lot of complicated health history. I don't know what it is. What we see come into us is people who are like, yeah, I have dealt with all crazy, I've had Lyme and mold, and like, or I had part of my bowel removed, or someone died in my family, or like something happened, and the body's pretty maxed out. So adding in a little element, whereas little to some person is a lot for your body. So I don't know if you're having more constipation or cramping or what. You can write that in. I would say, I've seen the Megaspore potentially cause loose stool or bloating, not as much constipation. The Mega IgG can cause some constipation and maybe some cramping, just because it's kind of compacting some things in the bowels. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah, I know it's frustrating when you react to everything. Basically also reacting to everything, and let me put a book in the notes here, is a sign of like hyperactive immunity and an inflammatory response, again, because of all the previous load. So this is a great book called Toxic by Dr. Neil Nathan. And he talks about how very few supplements like people can be on in his practice, and how he didn't really see this 20 years ago, but now oh, Anna's already read it. Great. But now he sees it a lot. People are just so like maxed out that they can't, so they're taking like a little tiny fraction of a pill, so slowly. And that's, I don't know your condition, Lois, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. But I was really lucky with mold. It never really became supplement sensitive, but a lot of people do, because they have chronic inflammatory response syndrome, and anything they add, boop, 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 and a lot of those people are the same with food. Oh, I'm sensitive to this food, that food. I'm sensitive to 20 different foods. I'm sensitive to every supplement I look at. I'm sensitive to, going into a grocery store. That's like the body has lost its ability to discriminate what's safe and what's not. It feels like nothing is safe at that point. And it's a delicate and super frustrating place to be. And I think you do the right thing to just clear out, and then, just add slowly. I think it's good you're working with a naturopath. Yeah, I've never heard the sleep disruption. This is the first time I've heard it. The only thing I can think is over the nighttime, that's when a lot of detoxing is happening. The body kind of inflames to heal things. I don't know if you're having cramping or more like, I guess you're just having insomnia. But I've never heard the sleep disruption. But here's like one more symptom. Like the human body like never fails to surprise. And I think our client population is pretty complex in their history. So now I have to add sleep disruption. I would probably add that in a category of inflammation. I think it was just your body like processing. We mentioned earlier, like even just the probiotic, it's starving the unfriendly bacteria, feeding the good ones. So where are those unfriendly bacteria going? They're dead, and now your body has to clean them up and out. The Mega IgG is meant to help with that, but maybe that's making you constipated. So I think probably the probiotic, I'm guessing the die-off is a lot for you, but there could be something else going on too that I don't know. Feel free to keep talking in the chat. Yeah, so I guess this month, here, let me see. I think we said 1 time per day. So Anna, I said the mega mucosa should be away from meals because it's a lot of liquid. And then the mega pre-fiber should be, they're both liquids. The mega pre-fiber you should sip throughout the day. And the Megaspore biotic was one with lunch, one with dinner, I think is what I said. But the liquids are kind of like once a day. Yeah, so inflammation, let's write down some things. These are some of my favorite things for inflammation. And we've the pure PC, magnesium, and fish oil. Those to me are really well tolerated because they're all meant to lower inflammation. So we put them in our anti-inflammation kit. When I was so sick from mold, like these are the things that would bring me, like if I had a migraine, I would, I would get like a 3-week headache. It was so annoying. So I would these are the things I would use to calm it. And you guys do have a coupon code in the drive here. I think it's like Gut Reset 10. I'll go check in a second. But if you want to try some things, maybe you're learning. I'm sorry, I don't know your name because it's listed funny. Maybe right now your phase is more anti-inflammation. Yeah, you could also do castor oil packs, dry brushing. What else? Sauna, maybe. Yeah, essential oils. I mean, it is, but I think what is anti-inflammatory? I think there's a few places to start. Louis, okay, thank you. Pure PC is phosphatidylcholine. It's a fatty compound that is very beneficial to the cell walls, and it takes the inflammation off the cell wall. So especially for brain type inflammation, it's good. It's actually quite good for the gut too. So you may need things more to just calm everything down for a while. Jennifer's asking, can you drink more than 1 scoop of prebiotic? Yeah, I mean, if you tolerate it, it's totally fine. Yeah, let us know how it goes. For the brain inflammation, is that pure PC? So it's a liquid compound called phosphatidylcholine. It's like 1 to 2 teaspoons a day. Usually, if you're really flared up, maybe you're going to hit 3 teaspoons a day. Yeah, so for headaches, is probably the brain fog. Brain fog might be number 1 use, and headaches number 2. Yeah, it's an amazing product. It's spendy. It's the most expensive thing in our shop, $69. But like, it's way better than it just goes in and it's liposomal, so it just goes in and works. Let me make sure I have the coupon code for you guys. Yeah, it still sells really well, even though it's expensive because it works. Okay, here's your coupon code. I thought this was it. Yeah, and Louis, hopefully, you can these products won't be a waste. It's just a matter of what's the timing that you can add them in and how much. So if you're working with a naturopath and they're working on various body systems, you also, Louis, think about are you pooping, and are you sweating, and are you moving your body? Because toxins will back up if those things aren't happening, right? Everything needs to have a place to go. So make sure you're having 2-3 bowel movements a day. Ideally, if you're not, especially when you're detoxing, use your sauna, get out and move. You can get lymphatic massage. Just make sure everything's moving. Really important. Okay, good. Yeah, it's good. The walking's good. So maybe add the sauna. That would be great. And you could do some binders with it so that you make sure you're trapping the toxins on the way out. Sometimes they're toxic with stuff we don't even know. I run these Envirotox panels on people, and they got gasoline additives in them. They got jet fuel in them, especially if your liver's backed up. Now we're all exposed to these environmental toxins. There might be other things. Louis, you might have some unidentified infections. You might have, that are also, who knows what's going on that's stressing your body. Binders I use when I'm doing the sauna is the GI Detox. So now you're sensitive to supplements. So I would usually say 2 capsules, but maybe just a half a capsule for you, especially if you maybe tend to cramp and constipate. Other than that, you could do like a liquid. You could do like a liquid bentonite clay if you feel like that would be easier for you to take from the grocery store. That could be another binder to use. A friend of mine just posted this article, like somebody went in for some kind of surgery and like their liver was full of parasites or something. Like you just never know what's going on in there that's deep, that's stressing your body. But if you can't handle these supplements, something is in there creating too much stress on your body, I would say. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so maybe you back off of this because you're doing the ozone, see what binders you can tolerate, add the sauna maybe. Yeah, they will. Zeolite is fine too. You can do zeolite. Sometimes it's in a little tiny liquid, which could be easier. But here's another thing. I've never had a problem on binders. Some people feel worse on binders because it's dragging the toxin through you. Now it's supposed to be trapping it, but it's not a perfect trap. It's still kind of dragging. I felt like I meant to show you. Oh, I was gonna go look for other questions. Wait, did I finish my little lecture? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. Hold on, let me go back to that. Okay. So a few more infections associated with thyroid issues, Candida. There's an article on that. And then I have some resources on, the gut is where thyroid hormone does a lot of conversion to active form. And also I read this, that it can be actually a reservoir for thyroid hormone. So that's pretty interesting. So just sort of more rationale to work on the gut here. Because the thyroid, and especially that low active T3, really common. This is the most interesting one I thought was melatonin. So melatonin you mostly know for sleep, but it also regulates a lot of other circadian rhythms. And newborn baby gets it from breast milk and from colostrum. They get something in the colostrum that teaches their body how to use the melatonin. It's really fascinating. So melatonin does a lot for the rhythms of your body. They're associated like low melatonin or melatonin irregularities with autism. It's antioxidant for the brain and the gut. It is instrumental in the immune system. It reduces some inflammatory compounds. This was surprising. Prevents age-related weight gain. Increases bone mass. Yeah, important part of fetal development. So super fascinating, and most of it is produced in your gut. It's also produced in the pineal gland though, but you have way more in your gut. 400 times more melatonin in the gut than the pineal gland. Super interesting. It also regulates gut motility. So how many people have a problem with that? Lots of them. So I just got this question on Instagram the other day because we had a new article about sleep, and they said, what do you think about taking melatonin? I think it's okay if you're not making it because you need it so much. It's really important. Mostly just people overdose it. Like you only need often 1 to 3 milligrams. I think milligram is the unit. So you don't need a lot. So we have a product called Sleep Factors, and it has some herbs and some magnesium, but it also has melatonin. Let's see here. Regulates blood pressure, detoxification. So again, a lot of it's produced in the gut. You want a healthy gut. Just one more reason to have a healthy gut. There's this certain cell that produces it in the gut. Oh, this is really interesting. They were looking for which type of bacteria helped the melatonin production. And it was spore-forming microbes, known to be dominated by Clostridial species. So I don't know if ours are Clostridial species, but they'll help produce that. And it restored melatonin in these experiments they did on mice. So really interesting. Not every type of bacteria was allowing the melatonin to be produced. Any questions on that? I will go look for other questions that came in online. Yeah, Louie, you sound like you're dealing with a complicated case, so just have your patience and do what your body can tolerate. Remember I tried some IV chelation? No, sick for 3 days, no way. So everybody's different, what they can tolerate. Okay, what's today? Today is the today's the 10th. Okay. Anna, I think you might be on here. Oh, you are asking about microdosing. Okay, I don't know if I saw this old question of yours, Anna, so I'll read it here. Yeah, Anna, I think you can keep doing your low dose and just keep it going. We kind of talked about that. I know it's a little slower and more boring, but I think you could just keep going the way you're doing. And then Jennifer, who's also here, she was saying how she's mixing in a little mega pre-fiber. Yeah, totally fine. I think that's a good creative idea. And if people can take the fiber like all at once, you could potentially mix the two and just chug it. But I think ideally with the fiber, you spread it out. So you're feeding the bacteria like throughout the day. And we talked about, yeah, could you do more? Sure. If it's tolerated, I think you could do more. And then Joan wrote in a few questions. She started the Atrantil. She did it for 15 days and didn't see a change. Was that a whole bottle to use for 15 days? Yeah, Joan, I think that they say that typical results, are you here, Joan? Oh, you are here. I think you're here. Unless there's two people named Joan. Typical results are a month, and then some people will need a second month. I will also caution you that, like, where is the bloating coming from? Are you also maybe not digesting food at the top? So are you taking enzymes or hydrochloric acid or bitters or anything, Joan? So when we take the Atrantil, we're kind of assuming that your problem is SIBO, which is a good guess. Are you also trying the low FODMAP diet, Joan? And then you asked, do you take Mega IgG until it's gone? Yes. Can Mega Probiotic make SIBO worsen? Can it feed bacteria? No, it's definitely not intended to. They designed it that way. Is anything possible? Yeah, but again, we don't know. I mean, maybe you do know, Joan. Write in if you do. Like, do you actually have a SIBO diagnosis, or are we sort of guessing about that? And you're worried about taking the Mega Prebiotic. That's fair. If you're already having a lot of bloating, adding in fiber may not be the right stage for you. So, Joan, if you are not getting response to your bloating, I would like double down. Do the low FODMAP diet, continue the Atrantil, and really focus on digestion in the mouth and the stomach, getting a lot of enzymes. Okay? Again, they designed the pre-fiber to not irritate SIBO and not cause bloating. but I haven't found that to be completely true. It can cause some bloating, but usually it's managed by taking less. But again, if you're already having a lot of trouble with bloating, I would sort of pause, keep working on the bloating. Another thing, Joan, that like maybe down the road for you, if you're still not getting any response, like I would do everything I said, see what that works. And then maybe is it's coming from something else? Like, do you need to do the biocidin to kill other infections? Do you need to do some gut testing? Because that bloating has a reason. So I have one client, private client, we have to do a lot of digestive enzymes with her. Like I have her on all the things, HCl bitter, because she really doesn't produce it. So she has to do a lot. And you might be that person, or you might be a little bit like Louis and like there's some infections you don't know about. But for now, I would just like double down, do the Atrantil. Are you doing some GI detox, Joan, to like bind up that gas? You could do some peppermint tea, you could do like some ginger essential oil. It may take a bit, you know, if you've had this a long time and now only 2 weeks, you might need longer. Let me see if you wrote any messages. Joan, are you the one here on the, oh yeah, you're the same Joan. Any questions, Joan? Yeah, I will post the article. I'll remember to do that when I post the recording. I know I need to write that properly, and I'll try to do the insulin research for you guys for next time. I'm very fascinated about insulin right now. I see so many healthy clients being insulin resistant. So I want to figure it out more. How do you know if you can't tolerate something and you need to stop and you need to Hertz, or if it's Hertzheimer's and you need to keep going a bit more? I'm not a believer in Hertzing. I think you should always back off. So how would you know if you can't tolerate something? Kind of all the stuff we talked about. Are you getting more bloated? Are you getting a headache? Louis was having the skin breakout. That's another category I should add to the list. Skin breakouts. That's usually detox thing, right? Inflammation detox. Headaches, fatigue, stomach upset, stomach cramping, constipation, diarrhea. Could be other things too, like, you know, can't concentrate or all sorts of things. Okay. Any other questions? So Jennifer, if you're Hertzing, it means you are not processing out the toxins. That's why you're having a side effect. So you do need to slow down because you're just recirculating them. Not only are you not feeling good, it's a very masculine theory to say, oh, just push through it. I don't really agree. You're getting a reaction because it's too much. So you got to back off. And that could be taking a few days off or going to lower dose, saving it for 3 months down the road, whatever it takes. Because sometimes it's just a passing thing. Like I've had maybe one time only that coffee enemas made me feel worse. Then it stopped happening. So it happened like a week, then it stopped. Sometimes it's just what your body's going through right then. But John, I really believe in cutting back if you're getting a reaction. Now, a little like, oh, my stomach's rumbling a bit, that's not a big deal. But if it's too much, it's too much. If you feel like you have the flu, you just feel bad. Yes, Jennifer added, but slower. Yes. Ideally, keep going, which so like Louis' example, it was too much. It was not even worth keeping going. Way too much was happening. So we have to back out. And I know it's so frustrating to buy stuff and then be like, oh, I'm reacting again. Because some people in this group probably never have that. And other people have that a lot. But hopefully you can, you know, slow it down and later add it back in. Okay. Any other questions? Maybe I will show you your homepage one more time. So I'll get this recording up here. I'll get that handout I did here in this section about the hormones and gut. I think next week we should also talk about weight. Is any votes for that? I feel like there was a lot of interest in weight in the beginning, I think. I don't know if people are still having that or they're just dealing with all their side effects. That would actually tie in well if we talk about insulin. So any other requests for next week? But yeah, please do take advantage. I know it's overwhelming, but we do have a lot of responses. Somebody did ask in the chat, any special diet? Oh, that was old. Here's a special diet, so to speak. It's not that hard. Here's your coupon code. A little bit more about some of these products and how they work. Bloating is right here on the top. Joan, this might be good for you. I mean, most of this is pretty focused on SIBO, but a lot about the mechanism of SIBO, and you can see if that resonates with you. Candida, I don't know if Louis might be having some candida or even parasites. You can learn more about them. Oh, that's a good question, reintroducing. Just teeny tiny, open the capsule. Just even, sometimes you just have to do a quarter capsule. You do quarter capsule, well, maybe the Mega IgG. Maybe if you could figure out which one's bothering you more, that would be good. So do them one at a time. There's people in that toxic book, all they can do is like a little, finger dip of something. That's all they can tolerate without inflaming. So hopefully it's not that severe. But I will wait, Louis, till everything's completely died down. Be doing your detox stuff, talk to your naturopath, and then just go super, super small. Like I think Anna's microdosing, she says also, like, go, I don't know how much are you doing, Anna? Anna was having reactions too, I think, if I'm remembering from next week or last week. This whole concept of the microdosing is a hard one for me too, because I want to just take the max dose. So yeah, look at Anna, 1/20th of a capsule. Yeah, that's very low, but she's keeping on. And I know you're taking so little. You may want to try the Mega Mucosa or fiber sooner, because it's too boring to wait that long. You could just, again, try very little. So headaches, probably inflammation, constipation, maybe some gas or compacting from the Mega IgG. Yeah, usually if you're getting reactions, you do have a lot going on. Either you know it or you don't know it yet. So not to say that anyone, you're like a bad person and you have reactions. But there's stuff going on in your body, because there's other people who can just take these down like no problem. So there's just something going on that's pretty imbalanced. Yeah, probably more than you know. I know. I kind of want to get tested for, I'm just going to sign up for this Lyme course, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should get tested for that too. Just know all the things. Okay, any other requests for next week? So I would say, yeah, if the inflammation continues, castor oil packs, magnesium, fish oil. Magnesium and fish oil you can get locally. I would like the magnesium glycinate, chelated, might get, look at ours, and if you're in a pinch, get something locally that's similar. I don't think those things are very reactive for the most part. What else can you do that's anti-inflammatory? Some people do like turmeric, glutathione. I don't know what you've already had success with in the past to lower inflammation. Actually, the Mega Mucosa could be really calming for you. Maybe let's do just like a little teensy tiny, once things are calmer, do a little quarter dose mega mucosa and see how you like that. That could be nice, and it's very soothing. But so is the mega IgG is meant to be also, but you just try mixing it up. What else is anti-inflammatory? Advil. I mean, sometimes when I'm really flared up, I just have to take Advil. I don't like to, but sometimes you have to break the cycle. But from our own shop, I would recommend our anti-inflammation kit. And you can do that coupon code. Epsom salt bath could be nice. You know, that's pretty well tolerated, and it helps you detox the magnesium and the sulfur. And we've had some recent blogs about these things. This is the blessing and curse of this community. You know, everyone's super knowledgeable, but people have a lot going on, and it's a little hard, you know, it's a little harder to treat, but that's okay. I like it. It's just a matter of, you know, having patience with yourself. And I went through all these same frustrations when I was really sick. I was just sharing a bit. I mean, I'm just recently in an Epstein-Barr flare, and it's been hard. So I get it. I get how frustrating it is to feel like, ugh, why am I having this again? Why am I so sensitive? But things do get better when you keep plugging away at it and see what fits for you. People have a problem with the sulfate. I guess if maybe you have a sulfur sensitivity that you know about, I think some people have that, but I don't think it's super common. If you're nervous, you could also start less salt. Usually it's 2 cups. So I would look that up if you have a problem, but I haven't heard it too much. Well, thanks for all your good questions, everybody. And I will be back the same time next week. If you have a question come up in the meantime, you can ask it through the chat. Thanks, Jennifer. I haven't been great about checking because there's not that many coming through. Or you can, you know, just tell customer service, hey, I sent over a question if you need a question answered and I haven't gotten back to you. But mostly it's just kind of we talked about today, you know, taking a break, going down in dosage, figuring out what works for your body. And unfortunately, we're all just in a little different situation. So Jennifer, was it Jennifer who's sucking down the pre-fiber? She loves it. And then other people are nervous to even take it. So we're all in a different situation. Yeah, Jennifer's swimming in the pre-fiber. Great. Well, thanks again, everyone. I will see you in a week. Have a great week. Bye.